Indeed, I do not deserve to get any of this. It's all chesed Hashem. I don't deserve this. Hayipalem Hashem davar. What, you don't think Hashem can do things even though we don't deserve it?
Welcome to Prism of Torah with Reb Asaf Aharon Prisman, engaging Divrei Torah, packed with stories and practical insights. Find us wherever you get your podcasts or at prismoftorah.org.
Shalom uvracha. In this week's Parshas Vayera, I want to share with you an unbelievable mahalach avot that my good friend Rav Yitzchak Svei, Shlita, shared with me, and it answers so many questions. And of course, there's an incredible practical takeaway that we can all learn from. Ad kedei kach, it's so unbelievable that I don't think it even needs a story to go with. And we'll start with what we know. The beginning of the Parsha, Avram Avinu has this mitzvah of achnasas orchim that he so yearned for, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends him 3 angels that appear to be like Ishmaelim, Arabs. And as they come in, quickly Avram Avinu does his best to offer them the best of the best. As we know, he shechts 3 cows to make sure everyone can have the best part of the meat of the cow, to have a tongue. And he tells his wife, Sarai Meinu, please quickly make for them bread, this, that. The bread couldn't come out because suddenly she became nida again. Against all odds, she's not a young lady, and yet she makes the bread impure, tameh, and hence she can't bring the bread out. One of these angels, we know, comes and tells them, I want you to know, you are going to have a son. You are going to have a son. And what is the reaction that Sarah has? She starts laughing. How can it be? I'm not so young anymore. How can it be that I'm going to have a kid? She starts laughing. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram to tell her, what do you mean? What do you mean? Hayipalem Hashem davar? Is there anything HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't do? Why is she laughing? And then Avram tells her, why are you laughing? And she says, I wasn't laughing. He goes, yeah, you were laughing. She says, no, I was laughing out of fear. What's going on over here? This dialogue, this whole scene has a lot of questions. First of all, why is Sarah surprised that she's having a son? Avram Avinu already was told by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in last week's Parsha they're going to have a son. Did Avram not tell her? Does that make sense? Question number 2, why is Sarah not believing? Sarah Imenu, she's a Navi. She's on the level of prophecy. And surely she believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that HaKadosh Baruch Hu all can do. She needed HaKadosh Baruch Hu to tell Avram to tell her, Hayipalem Hashem davar, what, is there anything Hashem can't do? She knew HaKadosh Baruch Hu could do everything. And also, she already got a hint that she's becoming younger and she'll be able to have a kid, because when she was preparing the bread, she suddenly became impure and became a nida and hence made the bread impure. All these questions and a lot more questions can be asked over here. And indeed, the Mefarshim deal with a lot of these. But this idea that Reb Svei Shlita wanted to suggest will answer all of them with one mahalach, which is beautiful. And it goes like this. It's a small detail, but it's a game changer. If you look carefully in the Psukim, when the angel told them that you're going to have a kid, it says the following. I'm going to come to you, Shov ashuv elecha ka'et, during this time of year, and you're going to have a son. Vaya ben l'Sarai ishtecha, and your wife Sarah will have a son. And Sarah Imenu is over there, v'Sarah shomat petach haoel, and Sarah is over there at the entrance of the tent. And then it says the magical 2 words, vehu acharav, and he is over there behind. Who is the person behind, and behind what? So Rashi says something, but if you look carefully at the Midrash Rabbah, and Targum Yonasan brings it also, the person that was there was Ishmael. Ishmael was hiding in the back, hearing everything that's going on, that the angel was telling them, you're going to have a son. Based on this seemingly innocent information, it will help us solve the puzzle of all the questions we asked. We know that Sarah Imenu, Rashi tells us, and the Midrashim tell us, she was very aware of the powerful Ayin Hara, the evil eye and its potential negative impacts. In fact, she placed Ayin Hara on she placed Ayin Hara on Hagar 2 times. Rashi tells us last week's parsha that Hagar was pregnant and she lost the baby because of the Ayin Hara that Sarah put on her. And then a second time in this week's parsha, later on, when finally Avram listens to Sarah and kicks out Ishmael out of his house, it says that she carried him on his shoulders. Rashi was bothered. What do you mean she carried him on his shoulders? At that time, he was already 13 years old. He had a bris milah. Why is she carrying him on his shoulders? And Rashi brings the answer, because there was an Ayin Hara when Sarah put an Ayin Hara on him and he became sick. That's why she had to carry him. So Sarah Imeinu was very, very aware of the Ayin Hara, especially on a baby, because she did that herself. She was worried when she realized and noticed Ishmael is there and listening. She was worried he was going to put an Ayin Hara on this piece of information when she falls pregnant. So she did not want him to know. And hence, at that point in time, she made a conscious decision to play it as if she's in disbelief. But of course she believed she's going to have a son. But she played it. And this explains why the wording is that she laughed in her heart. Vatitzchak bekirba. She didn't really laugh. With that piece of information, we answer everything. Because it could even very well be, according to Targum Yonasan and the Yerushalmi and the Midrash, that say that it was Ishmael over there, that she indeed was worried of the effect of Ayin Hara that Ishmael can have on her. And hence she wanted to play it as if there's no way this is coming true. What? Look how old I am. There's no way. But deep in her heart, of course she believed. But she played it as if she didn't. And hence she laughed. But that laugh wasn't real. It was a fake laugh. It was a decoy. So Ishmael won't have Ayin Hara on her. Now we understand Avram told her. Now we understand why she laughed. And when she only laughed internally, it was fake. Vatitzchak bekirba. Now we also understand the dialogue that happened over here. She says, no, I didn't really laugh. Yes, I know. I put on my face a laugh, a smile, as if I was in disbelief, but that's not true. I didn't really laugh. Hashem knows that. Hashem is boichen klayos v'leiv. He knows what's inside of me. Of course, I believed. I just did that out of fear. That's what he said. I did that out of fear. Those were her words. I did it out of fear. But of course, I believe in Hashem. And here comes the cherry on top. What does the Kadosh Baruch Hu tell Avram to tell her? Ha'ipaleh me'Hashem davar? Is there anything that Hashem can't do? Click on those words. Perhaps these words mean a lot than what meets the eye. And I will explain. The Chazon Ish explains to us what is really the idea behind Ayin Hara. Ayin Hara is when someone looks at someone and says, whoa, I can't believe they're having a kid so fast. Look how amazing their kids are. Look what a husband she has. Look what a wife he has. What a nice house. The second a person does that, which is called matmiya, he's like, whoa, I cannot believe he deserves that. Automatically, that's a trigger for the books to be opened on this person. Single him out of the crowd and say, wait a second, does he really deserve this? How many of us can really say we deserve what we have here in the world? It's all chesed Hashem. Are we really that amazing person, a big tzaddik that deserves what Hashem gives us? Everything is chesed that Hashem gives us. And hence, how many of us will come out badin that we're okay? No, we're not really deserving. It's all chesed of Hashem. And hence Hashem's telling her, I understand why you're pretending to laugh. And I am telling you, it's a mistake. The way to deal with these types of situations that you're worried of Ayin Hara, you can in a second stop it and cut it off, and use a shield against it by saying, I don't deserve this. There's no point in opening the books. Indeed, I do not deserve to get any of this. It's all chesed Hashem. I don't deserve it. Ha'ipaleh me'Hashem davar. What, you don't think Hashem can do things even though we don't deserve it? Most of us live like that. We get chesed from Hashem. And once we acknowledge that, there's no point and purpose to reopen the books on someone. Because he's admitting, I do not deserve this. And that is what Hashem is telling Avram to tell Sarah. Ha'ipaleh me'Hashem davar. Hashem can do many things even though we're not well deserving. Once you have that chain of thought, it's going to stop the Ayin Hara affecting you. Ad kedei kach, if you look in the Arizal, in a lot of his Sfarim, in Shar Kavanos and in Etz Chaim, he says that the way to deal with Ayin Hara is just to be meshabech Hashem and come to the acknowledgement that it's just coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. really don't deserve anything. He says that also when a person says, Amen, Yehi Shmei Rabba, Mevorach, you're just blessing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, saying everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we're nothing. When you have and you live life with this idea, that will be the best shield for any Ayin Hara. Yiratzon will take this idea and live our lives in such a way, and Be'ezer Hashem, no Ayin Hara will affect us. Have a good Shabbos.
This concludes another episode of the Prism of Torah. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something valuable. If you did, please subscribe to the podcast and give a 5-star rating. You can also find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts or our own website, prismoftorah.com, where we have a full archive of all our past episodes. We would like to thank Yona Vefa for the recording equipment and Eli Podcast Productions for handling all our post-podcast productions. Join us next week for another enlightening conversation on the Prism of Torah.